Welcome back to talknorth.com. Thank you for listening. If you can, please download before you listen. It helps our business. I'd also like to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and let you know if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the programs on the network, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. Welcome back to the Russo-Souhan Show, part of the talknorth.com podcast network. The network is growing. We've added the former Vikings general manager Jeff Diamond. We're working on a couple of other new shows, and our listeners are way up. It's been a blast to build the network with people like Michael. Thank you all for listening. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. If you'd like to advertise with this program or any on the network or the network as a whole, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. Thanks to our current sponsors on this program, Dulono's Pizza. Next live show, September 18th, 5:30 at Dulono's. Please come by, and it's been a blast doing shows there. They have great food, bubble hockey, full drink menu, craft beer, and I highly recommend their pizza, especially even for somebody who has to eat gluten-free. I love their gluten-free pizza. So September 18th, 5:30. Thanks also to Twill in the United Galleria, twillmn.com, Whizkids.tech, the Minneapolis tech company that can help your business become your chief technology ally. Fixologyrepair.com, long-term sponsors. And Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent champion, will tell you about all their businesses here coming up. Let's start, though. We're recording this on Tuesday afternoon, and Stevie Y just said he's going to step down. Take me inside that story.
Yeah, I just listened to the news conference, and he has stepped down as GM of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Julien Brisebois, who interviewed for the Wild job, by the way, in town here. He was actually brought to town in one of those in-person interviews. He takes over as GM. Stevie Y, for the remaining year of his contract, will be his senior advisor. And then Steve Yzerman made it very clear, I don't know what's next. They were pressing him on that. He has made it clear that he's moving back to Detroit. Quality of life. His 3 daughters are in college. His wife still has lived in Detroit, and he's moving back there. So already, and you can bet your life, the speculation the next couple of years is that he's going to eventually become the next general manager of the Detroit Red Wings. Kenny Holland signed to a 2-year extension earlier this summer, so wouldn't be shocking after this year if Stevie Y is brought on as his advisor, and then eventually assumes GM of the Detroit Red Wings, which makes a lot of sense. Why is it? And it is interesting. I mean, Steve Yzerman this summer, he set the future up for that team, signed guys to a bunch of extensions, came into town, signed Ryan McDonough to that extension with Ben Hankinson. And so he did all his business, and a lot of people have asked why 2 days before the season. I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, this isn't like when Patrick Waugh quit the Colorado Avalanche right before the season, or when I quit the Strib right before the season, quite frankly. It's not like Steve Yzerman forgot to order the equipment and, they don't have any jerseys and didn't pay the electricity bills for the ice and forgot to sign a couple players. I mean, Julien Brisebois has set up. The future of the Tampa Bay Lightning is phenomenal. Great minor league system as well. They've drafted and developed the right way, which is the bloodline of any good organization for consistency, and it's why they've been good. The one thing that they've lacked the last 8 years is a Stanley Cup. They've come on the verge, and maybe they can do it in this final year with at least Steve on the staff. But it's interesting. The one thing I was thinking about over here is remember 9 years ago I've reported it. Steve Yzerman was the leading candidate to get the Wild GM job the first time, and it was the year that he was going to be the rookie GM for the 2010 Olympic team in Vancouver, and he didn't feel like, to be a rookie NHL GM, that it was fair to the Minnesota Wild to also be doing Team Canada at once. And he goes and manages Canada to gold. You and I both covered it for the Strib. And then all of a sudden, boom, takes the Tampa Bay Lightning job. So the Wild were a year too early firing Doug Risebrough, or Yzerman would have been the GM of the Wild. They got Chuck Fletcher for 9 years, 6 straight postseasons under Fletcher. But you do have to wonder, how different would it have been if Yzerman takes over a year later? You know, do they trade Brent Burns? Do they sign Parisian Suter? Do they make the playoffs 6 straight years? It is interesting, revisionist history on where this organization would have been, for better or worse, if Steve Yzerman had been the GM the last 8 years as opposed to Chuck Fletcher the last 9.
So what's your educated guess? Where would they be?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you can't argue with the 6 straight years. Chuck Fletcher was given sort of an edict by Craig Leopold, like, I want to win. I don't want you to tear this down and go get franchise players number 1 in the draft. I want to win. And Steve Yzerman would have been given that same edict. Now, they might have had a different plan, but they, at the end of the day, might have had to have the same strategy. So you can't argue with the fact that 6 straight years they made the playoffs, and the Wild did draft and develop well in terms of their core that they have on the team right away. But the one thing that they lack are those, Kucherovs. I would venture to guess they would have had a lot more Russians in the organization. Mm-hmm. I could say that. That was something that clearly Brent and Chuck, that has not been their philosophy for a while. And we're seeing with Kaprizov why maybe that has been their philosophy. But right now, that they've made the playoffs 6 straight years, and they're back into trying to get over the hump. And Tampa Bay goes on, and so does Stevie Y.
What's your favorite thing about Dulono's Pizza, Mike?
Well, they were incredible the other day for Athletic Party. Just awesome customer service and everything. But you know me, I like the salad bar.
Yeah, and you go there for lunch. They also, I've had their pizzas. You can order by going to Dulono's-pizza.com. You can call them 612-767-9494. That's the downtown Minneapolis location. They also have we do our live shows at the downtown location, 118 North 4th Street. It's right there by Ramp C, so it's perfect for pre-sporting events because you are literally parking a block away. They also have their own parking lot and street parking right outside. It's just really accessible. They also have a location in Woodbury, 651-735-6700. And with 2 shops, they have a huge delivery area. So check out Dulono'sPizza.com for their menu. Again, I love the pizza, but they have a very varied menu. You can get all kinds of different stuff. And they have happy hours. They're open really late at night. They're also open. They also have the lunch specials that Mike talked about. But, I like the pizza. So check out Dulono'sPizza.com. Is there any other meat? Is there any more meat on the bone with the Stevie Y story? Anything else? You obviously don't think this means that they're in any kind of trouble.
No.
Let me ask you this.
Let's put it this way: Julian Brisebois probably hit the lottery by not getting the Wild job.
Yeah, no kidding.
It was Fenton's job to lose. He almost did to Tom Fitzgerald, but Julian Brisebois was never getting the job. I think Steve Yzerman did Brisebois a favor by getting him an interview here. There's a lot of respect still between Yzerman and Craig Leopold, but again, I think that Brisebois knew that coming in here it was more practice for interviewing, and that he wasn't getting this job. But in hindsight, it probably worked out for him that he didn't get this job and didn't get other jobs that he's applied for over the years, because stepping in for a team like the Tampa Bay Lightning, as good as they are, as set up as they are for the future, I mean, this is hitting the lottery for him. And no state income tax doesn't hurt.
Says the former Florida resident. Let's get philosophical here, because we're about to get deluged with actual practice news and roster news and everything else. We're going to get to your Q&A with Bruce Boudreau here in a minute too. I was at a Timberwolves event with some Timberwolves people the other night, and we were all talking about the future of sports, and we were watching the Twins play and saying, okay, are people really going to stick with baseball if you continue to have 3-4 hour games and long seasons, a lot of meaningless games, and there's hardly anybody in the ballpark for the Yankees series. What's the future of baseball? It doesn't look very bright. Then you look at the NFL, injury problems. The ratings are still great. There's no doubt. But you do wonder if over the course of time, people not wanting their kids to play football, if that's eventually going to depress their audience.
No.
And then we thought, well, I don't know. And then we were talking to said the NBA looks like it's really set up both to succeed both in America and globally. And I was wondering, what do you think? Where do you think the NHL fits in that discussion?
Well, first of all, to go back on your thing, it is interesting that State Fair outdrew the Twins this season.
Yes.
But the future of the Twins, I mean, reading our guy, Dan Hayes, and I'm sure Lavelle's right in the saying, the future of the Twins seems bright. I know a lot of people probably roll their eyes at that with, everybody that Falvey and Levine put in place, but because of what's going on with Buxton and Snow having a tough year. But I mean, you look at the class that they've got coming, and it looks like it's pretty special. So we'll see. All I know is reading about the Chicago Green Bay game the other day. Their ratings were absolutely erupted.
The first week of the NFL season killed it in terms of ratings.
And the Vikings was an unbelievable share.
Yep.
And all I know is that somebody like me who will in the next several weeks probably not watch a lot of football because the Wild are on. I watched from noon that day until 10, 11 at night football. I was over at for Rosh Hashanah dinner. I was over at a friend's house, their family, and they had friends there as well watching the Packer and Bears game, and they're mostly young people, and they were all going crazy about how good that game was and looking forward to the football season. So I just don't buy that that football is about to collapse. It's always going to be the sport of this country. And in NBA, I don't profess to be a expert on. In terms of the NHL, I mean, ratings have been as good as, look, are they ever going to catch the other sports? No, but ratings and attendance has been through the roof several years. And that's with 3 work stoppages in since 94, 95, and a potential of a 4th coming up here in a couple of years. Although I'm starting to be more and more optimistic that there won't be. So we'll see. But again, I just think that hockey's healthy right now on the ice. It's been unbelievable. Parity's been unbelievable. Competitive balance has been great. The superstars of this sport right now are awesome. You might not know it here, but elsewhere. Sorry, Philip. And but that's just that's just my opinion on that.
Well, I agree with you on the NFL. The NFL is incredibly popular. It's not taking any hits right now. I don't know if they get to a point where the head injuries just ruin the sport. But right now, I mean, it's just incredibly popular. I could see the NHL increasing its market share. It's been able to survive in the South, which was always a big question. And the Canadian teams are never going to go away. And I mean, the Wild are going to sell out almost no matter what they do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting this year. It will be. I mean, fans. We've talked about the angst of this fan base for a while, but this is the first time that. Every time I write a story, you get the 3 or 4 people that write back like yawn, wake me up when they make a big move, or wake me up when they go past the first round.
They care enough to tweet to you, but
those are the people. By the way, if you want me to ever see your tweets again, you don't want to say yawn or who cares. Because I'll just promise you might be the biggest Russo fan, you might be the biggest Wild fan, you might be an Athletic subscriber, but I'll never see your tweet again. Because that's a surefire way for me to just mute you and never see you again. So just a little warning there. There's nothing that just drives me crazy than spending hours writing a story like the one I did today on the Boudreaux one, and then your first response is, who cares, wake me up when it's so, sorry. I don't like that type of stuff. So
we got our first agitated Russo. That's awesome. We got to get agitated Russo.
I was thinking of somebody specifically who has been blocked forever.
We have to get agitated Russo out to Twill in the Dining Galleria to do a show here sometime soon. Twill, Scott Dayton has been sponsoring the program for a long time now. You can get Alden shoes there. You get Peter Millar Crown Shop. I'm actually getting tweets from people questioning my pronunciation of Twill brands now, of some of the brands they carry there. Peter Millar. I'm told it's like Kevin Millar, Peter Millar. I own Peter Millar stuff. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. Barber is the other brand that people question my pronunciation of. I think I'm getting it right. Scott's told me I'm getting it right, and I wear their stuff. Johnny O, I can actually pronounce correctly no matter what, and I bought a lot of their stuff. And again, I buy their stuff with my own money because I like shopping there and I love the stuff. And the cool thing about the stuff you buy at Twill is going to last a long time.
Jim usually doesn't like to shop for clothes. I don't like it when he shops for clothes either, because he used to buy stuff I'd want to throw out. That's why I'm so glad he's found Twill in the Edina Galleria. He likes shopping there because of the comfortable environment and the friendly staff. He finds clothes that actually fit him properly and are high-quality brands that will look great for years, whether he's golfing or working. Our favorites so far are Peter Millar, Johnny O, and Barber. We spend our money at Twill because we love the clothes and we love the no-pressure shopping. Drop